We shot for a third time this interesting book. It was kind of, had to get the focus just right and everything, but I think you're going to find it interesting. A 464-year-old book that shows what Antichrist is at the end of time. Check it out. So folks, we're going to begin with Revelation 13 right here. This is a Geneva Bible manuscript from 1583, excellently preserved. And we're going to be very gentle with this because it is a very old manuscript. But it contains very, very important information here about the beast power at the end of time. And it begins right here with Revelation 13. But you can see off here to the right how Protestants recognize that Rome was the fulfillment of this power. It was a Roman power. And you can see right here in the conclusion of the matter that 666 for them was a reference to the Pope or Antichrist. And there were several fulfillments of this in the Gematria, Latinos and several other names that fulfilled the number 666. Specifically, Revelation 13, here is wisdom, let him that hath wit count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. This is a 1583 Geneva Bible. And remember that these made it on the Mayflower when they came to America. Literally the foundation of America you're looking at right here, where Revelation 13, 18, Protestants who came to the United States recognized who that power was of Antichrist, and it is the papal power. But let's take a look at some of the reasons as to why. All right, folks, so this is one of the reasons why. This is a Decretum Gratiani right here, and this particular copy is from 1559. It's bound with cow's leather right here. Very, very old work, and we're going to take a look inside. We may have to switch to manual focus to get in and just to see what this looks like. But we're going to open it up. We're going to be very gentle with these pages, folks. But let's see if we can get to our cover page right here. This is the Decretum Gratiani. We're going to switch to manual focus. There we go. And let's take a look right here. So here is the Decretum Gratiani. These were Gratian's decretals. And Gratian was a canonist. You're looking at some original, this was his distinctios and decretals that became the body of Canon Law. And this particular copy right here you can see from the year 1559. We're going to scoot down here. Let's take a look. Cum privilegio regis. That means with the privilege or permission of kings. And here is the year 1559 right there in the Roman numerals. And one of the important aspects of this work is just what was declared in the Canon Law. And in order to do that, I'm going to turn you to Distinctio 19. So we're going to flip some pages here. We've gone a little bit too far. Let's back up here just a hair. Distinctio 19. So here is Distinctio 19. And we're going to back up one more. Yes, right here. So this is Distinctio 19, where you can see Intercanonica Scripturas Decretalis Epistola Coenumerantur right there. That meant that these epistles, these decretal epistles, these canonical, these decretal epistles were to be co-enumerated with canonical scripture, side by side canonical scripture right here. That tells you just how authoritative these were considered, okay? Do you remember in Daniel how there was a little horn that claimed power to change times and laws? Well, this power did exactly that. And we're going to go further to Distinctio 40. So let's move on. We're at 41 here. Let's back up just a hair. Here is Distinctio 40. And let's take a look here. So Distinctio 40. Si Papa fer fratunes salutis negligens deprehenditor in utilitatis remissus, if the Pope should be found negligent, deficient, and should otherwise lead innumerabilis populos, innumerable people to hell, with himself there to be bound with plagues for eternity, no man may judge him, for he is to judge all, and no man him. That is a very prideful statement right here, and Martin Luther had a particular problem with Distinctio 40 right here in Canon Law. But it continued, and we're going to take a look at that here in just a moment. So let's move on to Distinctio 96, down at 315, I believe. Let's take a look here. So, yes. Satis evidenter ostenditur right here. Okay, satis evidenter ostenditur. As it is clearly shown, ostenditur. Now that's the same Latin word right there as you can find in the Latin Vulgate for 2 Thessalonians 2:4, where the man of sin is showing himself to be God. And in this case, the Canon Law referred to Constantine as a pious prince because it is clearly a god that cannot be judged by man, and specifically calling the Pope, because he called the Pope God, Deo appellatu, because judged by God. So he's referring right here to the Pope as God, and he was a pious prince for so doing. Here the Pope is literally showing in Canon Law ostenditor himself as God. Now it gets a little bit more interesting if we go one further page. Let's move forward right here. So this right here is the next chapter. And we're going to switch once again to manual focus so we can just get right in here. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, right here, this is a section from the Donation of Constantine, which of course was a forgery, but nevertheless made its way into canon law. It was something that the popes used to try and advance their claims to authority, kind of a blueprint for papal high-water pretentious claims. But ut sicut bitus Petrus in terris vicaris filiae. Folks, there is the authoritative name in the Latin, or the authoritative canon law, wherein the name that adds up to 666. And folks, the reason why this name was so important is if you think back, the very confession of Peter himself, thou art Christ, the Son of the living God, by asserting himself as the substitute for the Son of God, that's literally part of the assertion of divinity right there. Because if you go back in Scripture, when Christ is recognized as the Son of God, the scribes and Pharisees knew that that was a claim to divinity. And folks, right here, we have a part where the Pope claims to be the substitute of the Son of God. That's a claim to divinity right there, when you claim to be the substitute of the Son of God. This is real Latin canon law from 1559. And folks, there's a reason why every Protestant should be concerned about this power and come out of Babylon, that ye be not partakers of her plagues. Folks, God has been so gracious and so merciful to us to know what is truth and what is error. And as Protestants, we call men forth from this system. And there's a mighty struggle coming for truth, but God has been gracious and willing that none should perish, and given us plenty of light and opportunity to know what is truth. Folks, let us heed his calls, and let us get ready for what this power will do at the end of time.